Very good afternoon, everyone. Today, on the first day of presentation of semester 4, I am going to deal with the topic contemporary paper contemporary English literature, unveiling the past historical references in the Ministry of Utmost Happiness. These are my academic details, table of contents. So first, to start with the biography of Arundhati Roy. Arundhati Roy was born in 1916 in Kerala, India. She studied architecture at Delhi Schools of Architecture and worked as a production designer. She lives in Delhi with her husband, filmmaker Pradeep Krishna. She has written two screenplays, including In Which Annie Gives It Those Once and Electric Moon. In which Annie gives it those ones she plays a role as an actor and also plays a role of her own life. Roy is a vocal activist and prolific essayist and a critic of governmental policies and social norms. Her non-fiction book, The Cost of Living, which is published in 1999, critiques the Indian government's handling of the Narmada Valley Dam project and nuclear testing. She won many awards in literature for her novel The God of Small Things and Lenin Prize for Cultural Freedom, recognized for her advocacy for cultural and political freedom. Her second novel, The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, was both longlisted for the main Booker Prize and finalist for the National Book Critics Awards in the US. Her novel Ministry of Utmost Happiness. The Ministry of Utmost Happiness is the second novel by Indian writer Arundhati Roy, which is published in 2017. The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy introduces readers to a rich tapestry of characters and themes set against the backdrop of contemporary India. The novel opens with the character of Anju, a transgender woman who defies social norms with her strength and resilience. Uh, Through this novel, Roy challenges the readers to confront uncomfortable truths and reckon with the complexities of contemporary India. Her blend of history and fiction offers a poignant reflection of our times, capturing the essence of personal struggle within the broader canvas of political turmoil. Narrative style in the novel, Arundhati Roy employs a multi-layered and non-linear narrative style in the Ministry of Utmost Happiness. The narrative unfolds through multiple perspectives and timelines, allowing the reader to piece together intricate connection between characters and events. She uses a poetic realism technique in her novel, also later and news of that time also are described in the novel, and this all incident and later poetic realism make this narrative non-linear narrative. History and fiction. In the Ministry of Utmost Happiness, Arundhati Roy masterfully intertwines history and fiction to create a narrative that is both captivating and thought-provoking. Through the lens of personal narratives, Roy vividly portrays the social political landscape of India over 2 decades, effectively blurring the lines between fact and fiction. In the article "Historical Discourse and Literary Writing", Hayden White discussed the relationship between history and literary writing in any form of poetry or fiction. Hayden imparts that both genres don't complement each other because history deals with reality, whereas fiction roams in the world of imagination and figurative language. Many of author uses historical fact in their fiction, like Charles Dickens, James Joyce, and Virginia Woolf also uses. And we also studied the Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children, which is also a historification. This describes the writer's use of history in their works and how they describe contemporary issues in their novel through the fiction and literature. So, in the novel Ministry of Utmost Happiness, Arundhati Roy first starts with medieval history Genghis Khan, the Mughal Emperor. The novel delves into medieval history by first connecting the protagonist Mullah Khan and his family lineage to the famous Mughal ruler Genghis Khan, using this to explore the transition from ancient belief systems like shamanism to Islam and other religions in India over time. Genghis Khan was home of the world of shamans of the Gobi Desert and one of the most famous Mongolian warrior rulers who considered different tribes into a unified Mongolia and extend his empire across Asia to the Adriatic Sea. Genghis Khan, he was a follower of shamanism, and after that, Mughal rulers who are followers of Islam in Manju, he is a follower of Shia sect of Islam. This transition underscores the evolution of social orders and religious hierarchies over time. Ali suggests that social and religious beliefs have undergone changes, often disregarding the natural world's blessing. He advocates for redefining social constructs to adapt the changing times, emphasizing the temporary of social orders and faiths. In 13th century, Genghis Khan faced many problems which are relevant today, and through this portrayal of Genghis Khan, Arundhati Roy also gives some suggestions for issues of contemporary time. Next is early modern era. In this very important symbol in novel provides by Arundhati is Hazrat Sarmat Shahid Dargah. Novel also provides a deep exploration of Sufi saint Hazrat Sarmat Shahid, a Persian boy, Jewish merchant who embraced Islam but transcended rigid religious boundaries to become a mystic negate fakir. He was born in 1990 in a Jewish family in Iran, and he learned Arabic language, Christianity, and Islamic theology, and other Islamic sciences. And after that, he became a Muslim. And after some time, he visited Sindh. And now Sindh is a part of Pakistan, but at that time it was a part of India. And during that time, he fell in love with a Hindu boy named Abhay. And after that, Sarma was accused of following a lifestyle which different in opinion from the established religion dogma for not speaking out the religious kalima of Islam in full in the court of Aurangzeb, lost his life in execution in 1660. So this incident also describes the main theme of the novel. This gay relationship of Hazrat Salman Shahid portray the main message of Arundhati Roy's novels. Modern history in the novel Emergency Period of India. In June 1975, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi declared a state of emergency in India under Article 352 of the Constitution, suspending civil rights and imposing censorship on newspapers. The emergency period saw a widespread abuse of power, including arbitrary arrest and forced sterilization, leading to a centralization of authority and weakening of constitutional check and balance. Some leaders like Jai Prakash Narayan condemned the emergency as a violation of democratic principles and urged citizens to resist authoritarian actions. Through this portrayal of emergency, Arundhati Roy described the suffering of marginalized and poor people of India. Next is 9/11 attack and the Gujarat massacre 2002. So these both incidents also describe the character growth and life of character in that novel. The aftermath of the 9/11 Twin Tower attack in the USA is depicted in the novel, highlighting the development of anger and resentment, particularly in the Middle East and Central Asia. And then Gujarat massacre. The Gujarat massacre of 2002 raised concerns about religious polarization and governance intentions, with widespread violence fueled by religious animosity. The impact of Gujarat riot was so intense on common people like Arjun. People are being used by political and religious leaders for their own agenda, undermining the constitution of country. Incidents like partition on religious ground and under the horror of massacre, excuse of Kashmiri Pandits, and linear and lingering decision on the Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid Lane title disputes, legal battle began in 1855. This whole incident resulted in a religious tension between the two major communities. So these are some incidents which also described in a novel by Salman Rushdie in Midnight Children. And the next is Bhopal gas tragedy and Sikh riots. The Bhopal gas tragedy underscored the steep price civilization pays for unbridled industrial expansion. And in this incident, so many people have died, and more than the so many workers suffered in this tragedy. Through this incident, Roy also portrays the condition of economic condition of India, industrialization, and also environmental condition of India, and uh, how these incidents became a painful for normal people, or we can say marginalized people. And the Sikh rise of 1984, after the death of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in 1984, following the military operation at the Golden Temple, exacerbated communal tension and highlighted the vulnerability of democratic institutions. The aftermath of these events witnessed widespread riots and violence against Sikh communities across the country. This period underscored the critical need for effective governance, social harmony, and respect for democratic principles to safeguard the rights and security of all citizens. And she also provided a brief history of Jammu and Kashmir and suffering of Kashmiri Pandits. The history of Jammu and Kashmir is marked by the plight of its people, both in the midst of geopolitical turmoil, particularly influenced by Pakistan's interventions in response to safeguarding the Kashmir Valley and its inhabitants. Kashmiris found themselves navigating the demands of militants and Indian security forces, leading to the suppression of their fundamental rights and immense threats. This issue is going on since the partition of India, and so many people are suffered because of this issue. The king Maharaja Hari Singh, the decision is not kept not captured for the Kashmir, and because of this, so many people suffered, and so many people lost their lives also. And in this, so many Kashmiri Pandits are also suffered in these incidents. So these all are historical incidents which portrayed by Arundhati Roy in her novel. So, in conclusion, we can say that all the historical elements which are provided in the novel also portray the characters' lives, characters' growth in the novel, and these all historical incidents suggest the some suggestion for contemporary issues, and how the people of India, marginalized people, and some people like third gender people or poor people, how they faces troubles in our society. Through this all fragmented narration, Arundhati Roy skillfully portrayed the suffering of the common people of India. So, these Arundhati Roy's novels not only entertain but also educates, offering valuable lessons for a more inclusive and equitable future for India. These are my references. Thanks. Now I move on to question.
Insia, my question is that as reader, we often bring our understanding, our own understanding of history to the book we read. So, how do you think Arundhati Roy's use of historical references in the novel *The Ministry of Utmost Happiness* challenges or adds to our readers' preconceived notion of Indian history and society? Like, as we readers tries to bring the memory of our about history to the books and literature we read. So how do you think this novel, The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, tries to challenges our preconceived ideas about history or adds to that or challenges it?
So history which are saved in our memory and we write it in a literature or in books. These are history. These are not factual history, but it's a fiction. So in Arundhati Roy, these events are real, but though for more information we have to check it out for other information also. So we cannot totally rely on these historical facts in the novel.
In Sia, how does Arundhati Roy use a fiction to critique and comment on a real-world political and social issues in India?
So how does Arundhati Roy use fiction? She used fiction to critique and comment on our contemporary India. She also portrayed the modern history of us, like the emergency period, Gujarat riots, Sikh riots, and also issue of Jammu and Kashmir. So she skillfully portrayed all these issues in the novel, and through this historical fact, she uses a fiction in her work, and through this she criticized our contemporary India and how people of marginalized community face struggle in India. So she skillfully portrayed all this. Thank you.